Hello, everyone, and welcome to this private webcast, Cloud Business Quarterly Research Highlights and Outlook, outlining the recent results of the Cloud Business Quarterly Research. My name is Allison Crawford, and I will be your host for today's session. TBR's focus is to provide business research to accelerate our customer success and working to find new ways to help you maximize the value of your relationship with us. Software Practice is launching a webinar series on both the Cloud Business Quarterly Research as well as our Software Business Quarterly to give additional qualitative insight on top of our research. During the presentation, analyst Jillian Morandi and senior analyst Alan Kranz will look into the trends driving the corporate results featured in the Cloud Business Quarterly Report to which you subscribe. This is a jumping off point for you to discuss any additional questions around trends we're seeing and how this will affect you. We encourage you to send us any questions or comments through the Q&A function or the chat function. I'll pose them to Jillian and Alan at the end of the webinar. Or if you'd like to set up a client inquiry for more detailed discussion, please shout either directly to Jillian and Alan at the end of the webinar with a CC to your account executive to set up a discussion. Now, let me hand this over to Alan and Jillian. Alan?
Great. Thanks, Allison. So I'm Alan Kranz, Senior Analyst in the Cloud and Software Practice at TBR, and I welcome you to our inaugural Cloud Business Quarterly Research Briefing. So we'll be doing these on an ongoing basis, and the format for these readouts will be to review the research that was included in our fourth quarter Cloud Business Quarterly reports and market landscape, and to give them insight into the direction and into the trends we'll be covering in 2012. All of our business quarterly streams of research, and we have 5 of them here at TBR. The format is that we're covering vendors. In the case of cloud, there's 9 vendor reports. We're doing on a rotating quarterly basis. And with those reports, we're taking a vendor-centric view of the business of IT, looking at their go-to-market strategy, their portfolio, their resource management, and their financial performance, all from a business lens to get what's really occurring in their business as they go out and compete and execute strategies in the market. And then at the end of each quarter, we're combining those vendor-centric reports to a market landscape to pull in vendors outside the core of 9 that we're covering, so more than 30 participating in the market landscape, as well as looking at the commonalities and the variances of certain market trends that we see happening in that quarter and on an ongoing basis. So it rolls all up, it around some common themes, and provide our stance on what's occurring in the market, how vendors reacting, and aligning with customer behavior. So today I'm joined by Jillian Morandi, lead cloud analyst for our team, and she's been participating in not only the vendor research, but also the numerous custom consulting inquiries we're performing each quarter in the area around cloud. So with that, I'll hand it over to Jillian.
Thank you. Cloud is a lot of things to a lot of people. TBR examines the cloud from the point of view of business models and customer adoption. We saw a gold rush underway as the cloud market enters mass adoption phase. Today, we're going to look at 3 aspects of cloud business and business models that provide insight into the evolution of this market. Point 1 is about market opportunity. That the public cloud market is expanding at a 29% CAGR and will hit $83 billion in 2015. This is based on our top-down cloud adoption studies and bottoms-up examination of vendor cloud business growth. Broad adoption means customers are getting more comfortable with the cloud, are spending more money, and purchasing solutions across different segments and different workloads. And means that more vendors are entering the market, there are more solutions, and that there is more money to be made. It also means greater competition from all sides. Revenue is largely driven by SaaS, followed by infrastructure as a service and platform as a service. But what got the market to this point will not drive the next wave of cloud adoption. Mirroring software market transformation, customers are demanding cloud-based solutions alongside point products. The role integration of many cloud products is the next wave of cloud adoption. Enterprise. Enterprise is a solution set wrapped around the idea that employees are more productive and clients more satisfied when businesses utilize tools that encourage social engagement and increased collaboration. And customers are demanding a suite of connected and interactive cloud-based tools. This phenomenon is spearheaded by Salesforce and Google, and 4Q11, traditional vendors, SAP and Oracle, quickly bought their way into the social enterprise market through acquisitions. This brings us to the third point, that the cloud market is a gold rush that is attracting entrants from all backgrounds. We segment pure play, traditional, telco hosting, and professional services has its unique approach to the cloud market and cover top vendors from each segment in our vendor-centric cloud reports. Clients not only better understand the various approaches to cloud, vendors they may want to partner with, and which vendors to be wary. That will dive deeper into the three key points, how they're related to 4Q11, and what we expect in 2012. The public market is expanding at a 29% CAGR and will hit $83 billion in 2015. A huge number, and we think that it's actually a conservative estimate. Leaders of growth include Time Warner Cable, who grew over 1,000% year to year, spurred by its 2Q11 acquisition of Navisite. Fox grew at 180% year to year through customer demand for cloud-based storage. Technologies, again spurred by the acquisition of 3Terra and its SaaS and PaaS expansions. Leaders include Microsoft, who generated an estimated $841 million just in 4Q11, with $140 million in absolute dollar growth, and Salesforce, $523 million in 4Q11, absolute dollar growth of $146 million year to year. Top-down customer adoption research, nearly 3 in 4 businesses are either using public cloud services or plan on purchasing public cloud services in 2012, following immense customer interest for vendors on which to capitalize. In a cloud adoption study, we surveyed nearly 1,500 enterprise and mid-market companies across North America. 20% of those surveys are using at least one cloud service, and many adopted multiple solutions across the cloud stack. So why is it growing? 50% of non-adopting respondents indicated that they are thinking about purchasing public cloud over the next 12 months. And the cloud is top of mind for purchasers, and that they are seriously thinking of adoption. This will put cloud into a more mature stage of adoption. Is our estimated public cloud growth curve from 2010 until 2015. This curve, we took into consideration 3 factors. What are people buying today? What are they buying tomorrow? And is the average selling price? So, platform as a service and infrastructure as a service are growing. But we see a big trend that will drive future cloud growth. What's horizon? The social enterprise. Latest cloud reports, Microsoft, Google, and Salesforce discuss the introduction of the social enterprise and how it is happening differently with different vendors. Microsoft is using Office 365, Dynamics, and Lync to offer a cloud-based, collaborative, and interactive suite of business solutions. Apps, along with Google+, enable the company to offer a collaborative productivity suite along with a social network for both business and personal use. It's aggressively pushing its social enterprise solution, which includes connected social media, database, Salesforce automation, CRM, and HRM solutions. Salesforce is again a market maker for this wave of cloud adoption and is rapidly winning share. Q11's major acquisitions for the cloud and software world were around the social enterprise. Acquired RightNow in 4Q11 and later Taleo in January. AP acquired SuccessFactors, Salesforce acquired Ripple, and this month Citrix acquired Podio. All 5 acquired vendors are cloud-based and social. The first 4 HRM solutions, and the last a social collaboration platform. Believes although Salesforce and Google were previously on board, 4Q marks the start of the social enterprise trend for the rest of the market. Offering social enterprise solutions include IBM with Lotus Live and SAP with Streamwork. Others will look for solutions that incorporate social capabilities in 2012. Companies without this functionality will lose a significant share of new business. Cloud will play catch-up through 2011, either through increased R&D or acquisitions to enter the social enterprise space. Brings us to the third point. As seen from both cloud adoption and from the rise of the social enterprise, the market is a gold rush with an increasing number of entrants from various backgrounds. First, orient you to the graph found in our 4Q11 public cloud market landscape. The axis represents corporate year-to-year revenue growth. The y-axis represents public cloud year-to-year revenue growth. Both sides indicate public revenue, and the 5-degree line represents where corporate growth equals public cloud growth. So the bubble is to the line, the closer it is to a pure play. To take further, the 4 colors represent the 4 backgrounds cloud vendors are coming from: pure play, traditional, telco, and professional services. Also, this is a public cloud revenue story, and vendors such as HP and IBM are making significantly more revenue in the private cloud space. The vendors is pure play. Cloud market makers Salesforce, Google, and Amazon Web Services, or AWS, demonstrated the value of cloud through ease of use, cost savings, connectivity, and productivity, opening the door for many more entrants. This segment, the traditional vendors. Traditional enterprise software and hardware vendors are offering cloud, from cloud-deployed versions of popular solutions, such as Microsoft's Office 365, to cloud infrastructure and platform as a service. Hosting vendors make up the third segment. These vendors use their massive amount of data centers and connectivity experience to offer cloud to their customers. Verizon, Rackspace, and CenturyLink offer infrastructure as a service, but other telcos such as AT&T are expanding beyond infrastructure as a service to offer platform service and a specialized cloud for care providers to manage medical images. The fourth segment of cloud vendors are service providers, such as Accenture, CSC, and Deloitte are building cloud solutions and helping their customers adopt cloud. Now, the graph really tells a story about what's going on in the public cloud market. Traditional vendors, with the exception of Red Hat and VMware, all lag in corporate growth and are looking to cloud to eventually move the corporate growth needle. CA Technologies, Dell, and BMC are new to the public cloud market and have high growth due to their small cloud customer bases. HP's and IBM's footprints with both its software business and cloud offerings. We believe Dell has a way to go to build its cloud customer base, as it is not able to as easily cross-sell solutions as its competitors, an advantage in the coveted mid-market due to its large footprint in the segment. We have sleeping giants. such as Fujitsu. Fujitsu spent 2011 building up its cloud portfolio and perfecting its go-to-market strategy, and we believe the company is positioned to take off as a leading public cloud vendor in 2012. Advantage of a large footprint outside the U.S. and will leverage this less penetrated cloud market to begin its ascent to the top. Is another vendor who spent the better part of 2011 creating their cloud portfolio and unified go-to-market strategy, and another vendor we believe will see rapidly increasing cloud growth in 2012. This is an interesting spot as its public cloud revenue growth is less than its corporate growth. This question: does the company really need to innovate its cloud portfolio to bump up corporate growth, or is it doing just fine? Newly acquired companies Cloud.com, Shile, and Podio will surely help the company grow its public cloud revenue, but at what cost? Existing vendors, Verizon and Rackspace, are winning in the public infrastructure as a service space alongside AWS and IBM, and we believe these vendors will continue winning in this space based on their appeal to large enterprises and government clients due to increased security and services. Pure players who expand portfolios to offer solutions as opposed to point products will continue rapidly moving up into the right. Vendors have a unique opportunity in that they will be called upon by customers who want cloud services but aren't sure how to implement and manage the technology, which is a high percentage of businesses and IT organizations. They know what they want, they see the benefit, but need help to help themselves. Winners will offer innovative, integrative, cloud and secure solutions that also have the ability to connect and work in private and hybrid cloud environments. Innovation and Me Too vendors will not have successful cloud businesses and eventually fade away if they do not get their cloud stories and portfolios right. Although revenue growth is seen across the vendor landscape, operating and profit margins are low, especially for software and hardware vendors who historically have high margins. AWS, coming from an e-commerce background, is used to operating with low margins, and its public cloud business actually higher margins than its traditional business. This example is very rare. As vendors ramp up their offerings through investments in data centers, R&D, go-to-market, and acquisitions, profits remain low or non-existent. There's Salesforce and ServiceNow, both operating at a loss. We estimate that Google is at break-even, and IBM, Microsoft, and Amazon are seeing around 10% operating margins. Saying that long-term growth will outweigh lowered short-term profitability. In conclusion, we have discussed the maturing cloud market and where it's heading in 2012, evidenced by 3 key points. The public cloud market is growing at a 29% CAGR and will hit $83 billion in 2015. This enterprise will drive the next wave of cloud adoption as the market matures. The market is a gold rush, and there is money to be made across vendors from all backgrounds. I'll hand the call back to Alan, who will discuss TBR's 2012 research topics.
Great, Jill. So I'm going to take a moment here at the end to go through, we've covered our direction with the business quarterly line of research, looking at increased adoption, the impact on this trend towards a social enterprise with cloud services, and how that's spurring the entrance from a diverse set of competitors that we cover through our cloud market landscape report, covering more than 30 of them, and also diving more deeply into 9 leaders that we see in the market. That's really one piece of our ongoing stream of research around cloud, and that we're combining that and complementing it with both programmatic studies, including a recently completed public cloud adoption study looking at the customer behavior, and that really formed the baseline for an update of our market estimates that we've discussed during today's call, as well as covering the other side of cloud, where we're launching a private hybrid cloud purchasing and adoption study, looking at, for those customers where an on-premise cloud solution or something with more enhanced security and control is a good fit for them. We're covering their behavior, what workloads they're trying to shift, using that private hybrid infrastructure as a delivery mechanism for the portions of their IT infrastructure that aren't residing on a public cloud. So that's an example of the customer-facing side of our research, and we're pulling out the key elements and themes from that overall sphere of research into our ongoing cloud research, informing the cloud market quarterly reports and landscape, so that we're covering what's most relevant to customers and comparing the vendor strategy with that customer direction. So background in our broader cloud portfolio, I'll hand it back over to Allison to open up the lines and take your questions. So please and follow up after the call, because your research priorities are the things that we want to in terms of the themes and topics that we're covering, both with the Business Quarterly and our programmatic and custom studies.
So I'll open up the lines. If anyone has a question, please do send them through. Our first question is, how worried are enterprise vendors like IBM, HP, BMC, and CA about ServiceNow?
ServiceNow is disruptive in the IT service management as a service space, owning an estimated around 75% of the market. But in the overall IT service management market, it still owns a small portion, around 7 to 10%, leaving plenty of room for enterprise vendors to upsell as-a-service solutions into their large customer bases before customers really jump ship to ServiceNow.
Our next question is, at a high level, I thought I heard that the growth rate is very high, but few are making any money. Is that right?
Yeah, this is Al. I'll jump in on that one, and perhaps Jill can follow up. So that's correct. So when we look at the growth, overall it's very high, but the dynamics that we saw were multiple folds. First of all, you have small startups, a lot of which are not profitable at this point. And if you look at some of the largest vendors in the cloud space, Salesforce, Amazon, Salesforce actually not being profitable today, Amazon with very slim margins compared with traditional IT products and services. So there's that struggle both from some of the leaders in the market, as from the other set of vendors that we see participating, those that come from either a traditional IT background or IT service delivery background, try to find the right monetization route and business model to use with cloud. So we see it being used somewhat as a complement and an extension of their traditional products and services today. Whereas if you looked at it on a standalone basis, which we bring models down to, the profit margins are not significant. When we compare it to their core businesses, those areas that they have a lot of maturity and scale. So again, even with the traditional vendors, tough to have high profit margins when you look at public cloud on a standalone basis.
Alan, next question is, you say that point solutions such as SaaS applications will not be enough to drive future cloud adoption. Are there avenues outside from the social enterprise that will drive adoption?
I'd say they'll not be enough to drive future adoption. I mean starting around 2015. There's still plenty of opportunity for point solutions, evidenced by the 54% of respondents who do not have but are willing to purchase public cloud this year. Outside of social enterprise portfolios, we really see specialized clouds such as government clouds, public sector clouds, education clouds, financial services clouds, drive adoption. Customers demand customization and don't really want a general vanilla cloud.
Thanks, Jill. Our next question is, what is the trend for private cloud adoption versus public cloud adoption?
Yeah, it's a great question. That's really what's driving us to look at the the launch of our private and hybrid cloud study. When we think about the dynamics, so we'll answer a lot of questions through the course of that research. But top level, when we think about the dynamics between public and private cloud, we would public at this point as a very broad adoption, but not very deep within most of the customers that we looked at. So a lot of trialing, a lot of departmental purchases, not really at the core of their IT infrastructure, and getting a lot of depth in terms of standardization around certain offerings. I think it's the opposite of that with private cloud, where a lot more large enterprise purchasing. These are purchases that are going to be core to their IT operations and the organization. So I think you're going to see less volume, but certainly larger deals, deeper penetration of private cloud as a backbone for the workloads that are going to be delivered using that technology as the delivery mechanism. So a lot to come there. We're going to be drawing out the contrast between private and public more distinctly as we research that side of cloud over the next couple months. But that's really how we see the adoption trending from a high level.
That question that came in is PaaS adoption higher in private cloud versus the public cloud?
So in terms of PaaS, again, it's a very interesting question. We're getting a lot of inquiry from clients around particularly on the open source offerings, things like OpenStack, CloudStack. In terms of public-private for PaaS, I think we see a lot of the same dynamics where currently, there is fairly high usage in terms of public cloud, platform as a service. I think a lot of customers are taking that step to get started with it, to do on a trial basis for certain projects. But they're really trying to evaluate where to go in terms of that next evolution of how they're going to develop software and deploy software using cloud as a backbone. And I think as you start to see more maturity in terms of that customers dealing with that transition point, we see private cloud as something that's going to be more of a focus area for customers going forward. And again, similar to overall with private cloud, more of that deeper level of penetration and standardization for how you're developing software going forward, where I think public cloud runs out of some momentum as you start to think about standardization in large enterprise purchases in terms of how they're developing and deploying software.
Great, thanks. Another question that's come in is, how do you conduct proprietary research in cloud as well as the business quarterlies? How do those research streams integrate?
So good question. So really deliver a range of research options, starting with the business quarterly, where we're looking from that ground up level of research, is very vendor-centric, rolling into the market landscape. But a lot of themes and trends we see are the same across, whether it's a program or a proprietary study. It's just delivered and researched in a different way. And as you start to think about custom recommendations for your business, actionable insights, that's where we get into the programs and the proprietary studies. So we can look at customer behavior, vendor strategy in a certain space, and then tie it back to what you can actually do, what the recommendations are, or how to take advantage of that, capitalize on customer requirements, as well as take into account the competitive landscape that gives you background for what's occurring in the market. So for the biz quarterlies, it's a more vendor company-centric approach. With the topical studies and the proprietary studies, we're looking at a certain topic, combine both the customer behavior within that space, the vendor strategy for the competitors that are participating, and then tying it back to recommendations for your path forward, how you can capture more of the opportunity in that certain market.
Great, Alan. That was one question. If anyone else has a question they'd like to ask, please do send it forward now. I want to encourage everyone on the call. You are all clients and do have direct access to the analysts. Once you read through the reports, if there are specific questions that you'd like to get some additional clarity or insight on, please reach directly to the analyst or your account representative to set up a discussion. I want to thank Alan and Jillian for their time today and everybody else who joined the call. We really enjoyed this interaction, and we look forward to continuing the dialogue with you. As I said, I'm going to leave the chat function open for another 5 minutes in case there's any last-minute questions that come through, and we'll see you all again next quarter. Thank you.